So I used to feel that I had a really good handle on all my emotions. I was proud that I could get rid of anger easily, ignore small annoyances, forgive people, and generally stay positive. Until I realized that I wasn't really managing my emotions, I was just shoving them down and trying to ignore them. But even when I finally acknowledged that I was just ignoring all my negative emotions and memories, I still didn't really want to change anything.
I guess I'm just curious what it would be like to really sit in my emotions and just ride them out, feel all the feels.
And what made you want to try that?
I don't know. I mean, elephants have such a wide range of emotions, from love to joy and rage and grief. They even hold funerals for other elephants. And in 2004, an elephant even held a funeral for 2 people by burying them under leaves and branches.
And do you admire the elephant for that?
Well, that particular elephant did also kill those 2 people, so...
And how does that make you feel?
I mean, nothing right now. It was a long time ago, and I didn't know them, so... Wait, what are you writing? Can I read what you just wrote?
And while it was easier to stay unbothered, which for me meant just bottling everything up, in the end, in an effort to understand myself and grow in emotional intelligence, I decided to open the floodgates and feel all the feels. And what I found when I started to be more honest about my emotions was that there were a lot of places in the Bible that didn't connect to me on an emotional level. You know those verses that are on like so many coffee mugs and different sweatshirts and everything? You see them everywhere. And that really bothered me. I figured if I could read that our God is the God of peace that passes understanding, I wanted to feel that peace all the time. You're not going anywhere, peace. You're gonna stay here with me forever. And while there is something to be said for not letting your emotions rule your belief systems, I found that I have to acknowledge the core of my emotions so that I can reorient my responses to be more aligned with the reality that I believe and have faith in. So what I started doing was taking those Bible verses that were meant to comfort me, but that didn't really give me any immediate relief or sense of peace, and I would write them out over and over. I often wouldn't see any changes from this for months, but I'd stick with it. I do the same with worship music. I would tell God that I didn't necessarily feel the truth in the words in them, even when they clearly reflected biblical truths about God's character, but that I was going to sing them until I believed them. And it would take hours. I still do these kinds of things now when something difficult is going on or when I'm feeling down. I go to God and I tell him exactly how I feel in the moment, including how I feel about him even when it's negative. And I take all these songs and verses and I tell him that I don't feel the truth in them, but that I trust him. And I ask him to help me believe the truth about him. For me, I know it sometimes takes a long time, like years even, but God's always met me in the specific way I needed it, just as I feel like giving up on something. So I have faith that he'll continue to do this. And what I've been learning is that while a Bible verse can give me joy or peace in a moment, I still have to work with God as the person he's created me to be. For me, that's staying creatively and intellectually stimulated. Exercising for emotional regulation.
Do you hear that? That's an elephant stampede. We gotta run!
Being very honest with God about my feelings. God, I just feel so all the time and I'm so sick of it. And not indulging in things that are unhealthy for me in a current state of mind that I'm in. Filmmakers infiltrate the corrupt global network of ivory trafficking, exposing poachers and dealers as African elephants grow closer to extinction. Yeah, play. And being committed to the process, even when there's no immediate result. What works for me isn't necessarily going to be what works for you. So I guess I just want to say, don't feel bad when a Bible verse doesn't quite get to your emotions. God won't love you any more than he already does because you don't have an emotional connection to a verse one day. God already loves you perfectly, regardless of your emotional state. And he's made you uniquely. So find out exactly what it is that he's programmed you to feel better with. Whether that's something you currently do or maybe something different you need to try, like opening up in a new way to that friend that God's placed in your life for a reason.
Wait, you got trampled by a stampede of elephants? No way, so did I. How did I not know that? I've known you for so long.
Or pursuing a passion that God's placed inside you as an emotional outlet. I'm gonna go stop those elephant poachers. Maybe it's journaling all your thoughts out to God. Or seeking professional help.
I just feel really bad for killing them, Am I gonna go to jail?
Yeah, I called the cops. They're waiting outside for when our session is done. But remember that the Lord is faithful and just to forgive. Trust that He has good plans for your future. Here's a mug with a Bible verse on it.
This doesn't really make me feel better.
And keep going back to those verses, because God's at work in you, and He's using them even when you don't feel it. This does actually make me feel better now.